Curtis Calhoun here with MMA News, and right now I am joined by the champ, Aljamain Sterling, just a couple weeks removed from his big win over Henry Cejudo, and he's got a big partnership going on with Nerd Energy as well. How's it going?
Really good. Over the moon still. I'm just excited about everything. We're in a really good place right now in my life, and want to keep the good times rolling in.
Absolutely, man. Well, before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about this partnership you got going on with Nerd Focus. Obviously, we see the drinks right there. Talk to me a little bit about the work you're doing with them, and talk to me a little bit about the product and a little bit about all of that.
I mean, the main thing about this is that I really do believe in the brand and especially what they stand for. They're nootropic, and there's not a lot of nootropic drinks in the space right now. And for them to come in kind of leading the charge with that, you're starting to see a little bit of an uptick with companies trying to come out. And I'm just excited to be like just with the beginning stages of this. I know they already been a little bit established beforehand, and to get this partnership at this right time, I just think it makes the most sense, especially as an athlete. Brain health is everything. And I think that's the most important thing. So we're going to see, I think, a trend with athletes leaning more towards the nootropic side of energy drinks and things like that, or just any type of products whatsoever. So for Nerd Focus to be coming in and kind of leading that charge, and thankfully I'm the face of it right now, and I'm excited to just push the product and show people what it's all about. It's a lot different from the typical things what people generally see on the market in terms of energy drinks. So that's what I'm most happy about. It's not the same cans that were just full with a bunch of, I don't want to bash anybody, but it's just, full with not a lot of great ingredients that are things that you would give your own kids. So far, so good. Let's keep on pushing forward and let's keep the focus, baby.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that. Like, what do you feel like kind of separates them as opposed to other energy drinks? Like, I feel like this is something you can use when you're studying, when you're, watching film or just kind of relaxing or focusing on something. I guess kind of talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I would pretty much agree with everything you just said. It's going to help definitely with just keeping the focus, studying and things like that. And especially for me, breaking down film, sometimes that could be a tedious task because it's like, I just want to go and train, but you got to really make sure you're doing the right thing, doing your own homework, and you have to be focused the entire time, and not to just play on word, but you do have to be focused while you're doing that so that you can actually get the proper breakdown and analysis of what you're looking at, so that when you do go into your training sessions, you have the proper information that you can use to build on going into your training camps. So an energy drink like this is going to be beneficial in that regards. And of course, just in towards your health and not having to put a bunch of bad, just bad ingredients, So the main thing about this, I think for me, is that it's the nootropic side of things, brain health. And for athletes such as myself or anyone who just wants to have a natural or more of a better uptick in their energy levels, this is the way to go. I would say I would recommend Nerd Focus for sure with that. So with that being said, I think, man, it's there's just a lot going on right now. So I don't know. I'm at a loss of words. Not even just in regards for the product, just in terms of, I guess, just my career and everything right now. So I'm just looking forward to the future.
I want to ask a little bit about that, man, because it seems like you're in a really good place right now. Obviously, you're coming off of that big win over Henry Cejudo. I want to touch a little bit about that as, kind of get your reflections on your performance and how the fight played out, and kind of overall how the fight went.
Hindsight's 2020. I think there were some things I could have definitely done better, especially after reviewing the fight, watching it back with my coaches. Well, actually, I didn't watch it back with my coaches. I watched it back with like my teammates and stuff. So just looking back at it, there were certain things that we touched on that we wanted to do coming into the fight that I didn't quite execute as well as I thought I would have, going back and watching it. And even in real time when I was in the octagon with him, there was a couple of things I just felt a little off. And I think it was just Henry doing a really good job with his preparation and the adjustments that he makes, because he does the fight breakdowns and things just like myself and all those type of stuff with his YouTube channel, the same way I do mine. And He's a smart dude. He's the real deal. He brings a high level IQ to the octagon, and he's able to adjust and pivot on the fly. And I think that's what makes a champion. People think you just go in there and fight, but it's a game of inches. You really do have to play a physical chess match in there. And he did a good job of adjusting. And I had to make sure I was doing a good job of adjusting to his adjustments. And fortunately for me, I felt like I got the better of all the exchanges for the most part. I outstruck him, out grappled, and I think that helped me get my hand raised on that night.
Do you feel like facing a guy like Henry Cejudo, who, like you mentioned, is able to make those adjustments on the fly, and obviously you're able to do that yourself? Is that a challenge that, really excites you when you look back on it? Like, hey, I was able to adjust and make those adjustments mid-fight, and is that kind of a sign of your growth over the years and in your career?
Oh, 100%. I've done it with other guys, but to do it against another guy who's highly regarded in that department, I think it speaks volumes on to where I'm at in my career mentally as an athlete and as a coach. That is something that is kind of on the back burner if there's ever an opportunity for me to cross that path and really dive fully into the coaching role. I know that I got the IQ to do it, and it's proven. I actually go out there and I can execute the things that we talk about and the things that we work on or the things that we see when we're preparing for these fights. So it gives me all the confidence in the world to know that I could go with just about anybody. And I like to think my preparation is second to none.
When you look at Cejudo, do you feel like he'll fight again? Because he mentioned during his post-fight interview that he was, thinking about retiring, and then obviously you get the tweets with Merab back and forth and all that. But I guess what do you feel like is going to happen next for Henry? Do you feel like he's going to fight again, or do you feel like he's serious about returning?
I think he's in a good spot. The way I see that he's looking at it as if he beats the number one contender, he gets right back into a championship situation. And being that we had a close fight, I guess you're playing devil's advocate. If I were to lose to Sean in my next one, then it gives him an opportunity to jump right back into a championship opportunity. So it's not a bad idea, but I do think he's got a tall task ahead of him if he thinks he could just walk past Merab, because he thought the same thing with me and he underestimated me. I really do believe that. And he gave me my props afterwards. And I think he might be doing this very same thing against Merab. If he thinks my gas tank wasn't going to hold up, dude, good luck with him. Because even when I'm in shape, Merab, it's a different level of conditioning. I use my conditioning as a weapon, but Merab really uses it as like a first-hand weapon. And that pace is going to be something unreal for him to stop. So I don't know. That's a tough matchup for him. I like the matchup for Merab, but we'll see what they're trying to do. I think Henry's only way of winning that is to hope that he stops him. But that Merab doesn't really get hit. And his pressure, his pace, his relentlessness, I think that's going to be a very tough situation for him. So we'll see if he truly wants to be back in his game. Because like he said, if you're not first, you're last. And it's hard to mentally just fight knowing that you may never, ever touch championship gold again.
I gotcha, man. And I got to ask you, man, this is something I've always wondered, and thinking about talking to you and all that is, do you feel like you're slowly but surely starting to feel more appreciated as a champion, or do you feel like that's still kind of a hurdle you're working through? Or I guess kind of talk to me a little bit about that. Like from an outsider's perspective, how do you see like how that's kind of changed over time?
I mean, I feel like the fans have started to come around, but at the end of the day, I know people say like, "Oh, he cares too much." I'm like, I do and I don't all the same time, because at the end of the day, everything's still the same. Like nothing changes whether you give me your approval or you don't. I'm still gonna go out there and compete. I'm still gonna go out there and get paid for competing, win or lose. It doesn't matter. So if being beloved or whatever, what have you, whatever you want to call it, if that's important to whoever, everyone's different. I got bashed for 13 months. I didn't care then. I don't really care now. I'm living my life. I'm chasing a dream. And that's the most important thing to me. My family, my friends, goal setting, and achieving the best things that I could achieve for myself. That's what life's all about. I don't have time to sit there and try to make sure hundreds of thousands of people want to give me their approval. That doesn't do anything for me other than, what does that do? Give you a little bit of a dopamine hit? I don't know. So I don't really think it matters all that much. And I mean, if that's going to convert to pay-per-view sales, I don't know. There's not much data to say if people like you, they're going to spend money on you. They could just like you, and that doesn't mean they're going to spend money to watch you compete. So when you look at it like that, it's like it's more arbitrary than anything. I think I'm comfortable in my own skin, and whether you like me or you don't, that's your personal preference. I can't, and I think when you try to please everybody in the world, that's when you have a problem. You can only be yourself, And if you don't like me being myself, I think there's a little deep rooted problem there. I think it's more so my fight style, or maybe you didn't like the way I won the fight against Jan in the first place. And I understand that. I understand why some of the fans might be turned off to me. But at the end of the day, I think I redeemed myself and showed that I'm no fluke. I didn't get here by accident. I haven't been here and staying here by accident. I work hard just like any other American out there or any other person out there in the world that's chasing something. And the results speak for themselves. So if you can't respect that, then you don't respect yourself.
When you hear from other UFC champions and UFC champions like yourself, obviously, like they talk about, kind of that personal growth element that comes with having the belt and growing not only as a fighter, but as a person. Like, since you became the champion, like, what's kind of the biggest thing you've learned about yourself and the biggest way that you've kind of grown as a person and as a fighter?
The biggest thing I've learned about myself, I always talk about perseverance, wrestling and things like that. And when I first started fighting, but I think winning the belt, even the first time, like, perseverance in that fight for me was, hey man, you're getting your ass kicked, but you are not gonna quit on yourself no matter how bad it gets. You're gonna keep coming forward. Yeah, you might have had a hiccup in the lead up to the fight by your dietary rehydration process, but showing your teeth and showing the world that you're never going to quit, even when the guy is literally piss pounding you in there and he's beating you from pillar to post, and you're still coming back and you're trying to fight back, never quitting on myself. And I think that's what it's all about. I think that's what champions do. You fight back no matter when the tough gets going, man. You got one thing you could do. You get two things you could do. You got to either back down, or you can try to rise to the occasion and keep fighting back. And I think that's what my career as a champion has shown me time and time again. And at the end of the day, man, no one's going to believe in you like you believe in yourself. And I think that's the most important. So if anything has really changed, it's just more of that self-belief that no matter win or lose, you keep fighting hard. You fight through the tough situations. You find a way to win. And as long as you keep the faith and you keep believing, I truly do think good things can happen.
Is there kind of a certain work-life balance that you've kind of had to develop too? Like, obviously, when you become champion, there's more media, there's more attention, there's more, championship obligations per se. I mean, do you feel like you've kind of had to make that a focus in terms of balancing your work with your life and your personal life, your family and all that?
Oh, 100%. I think people forget that we're not just these robots that just show up on fight day. We have a training camp that could be anywhere from a proper training camp, anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks. Some people need, they need more time. And when you think about that, you look at it, the calendar year, you're fighting and you're preparing a training camp for 3 months out of the year. You fight anywhere from 1 to 4 times if you're lucky to compete that much. It's a lot of time spent away. So you do have to have some type of balance to live a regular life, take time out to enjoy the fruits of your labor type of thing. And otherwise, time is just going to pass you by. And you're going to look back and realize you have no real memories, no deep connections with anyone that's around you. And I do think there's something to be said about that. Because when I was younger, I didn't care about anyone or anything but myself. When I was in college, I go to class, I come out, and I was a professional athlete while in school. I missed out on a lot of the parties. I missed out on a lot of the functions with teammates and training partners. I missed out on a lot of family things because I was chasing a goal and I was so driven, and I was training 3 times a day, sometimes 4 sessions. And that was just the mental mindset that I had, and nothing else mattered. I'm 20, I'm 21. I'm like, dude, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna take a real good shot at this. And then as I got older, I started to get injured a little bit more. I started to realize, like, hey man, there's more to life than fighting. Because when I was done sitting on the sidelines, it's like, well, what do I do with my time? What do I do with my life? I only know one thing: wrestling, and now fighting for MMA. So you take those away, what else do you have as an identity? And I've kind of learned to realize, like, I need something else to kind of deflect or take the relief of the pressure of doing media, of doing a training camp, of cutting weight, of worrying about my diet, to just unwind and just be a regular person that's relatable to everyone else in my circle. And sometimes I still feel like my friends treat me a little bit differently, and I have to remind them, like, listen, motherfucker, I'm still the same as you. I'm the same guy. I haven't changed. I don't go around doing anything crazy or flashy or turning my nose up towards anybody. I still bring my friends around whenever I can to give them experiences that I'm blessed to have. So I look at life like that. It's any going forward, I would like to kind of be more of a heel. I feel like people, they want to hate me. I kind of want to give them something to actually hate, because I think when you ask them, they don't really have anything to hate. And I'm kind of leaning towards that side. But when I talk and I have to answer questions like these, I have to peel back the layers a little bit. And, I try to keep it a buck. And I think this is the internal conflict that I have of who I want to show the world as Aljamain Sterling. And at the end of the day, this is me, man. I cherish the good times. I cherish those tough times, because I know they don't always last. And even after this last fight, I didn't truly feel fulfilled. For some reason, something felt like empty. I don't know if it was because of how deep of a training camp this was, postponing the surgery, still having my arm hurting me till this day. O'Malley coming into the cage, kind of messing up my moment, and maybe the idea of Dana saying that he wants me to fight August 19th, which is a super fast turnaround. I think probably the fastest turnaround for any champion out there. So there's a lot at play, where it's like, man, I feel like I didn't even get time to really enjoy this moment, because I feel like I'm jumping right back into the fire all over again. So there's a lot, man. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. So I try to keep that work-life balance as best as I can. And I know people are like, oh, you're not going to drink this training camp again for the next one. I'm like, dude, unlike you, fighting isn't my life anymore. I like to take time to smell the roses. And if I have to do the things that are going to make me enjoy fighting that much more, and drinking is one of them, it's not like I'm getting shit-faced, I'm not getting blackout drunk, I'm not driving cars and crashing into people, knock on wood, or things like that. I think I live a pretty modest lifestyle, and I want to be able to enjoy the fruits of my labor. That's really it. I want to be able to take a month off and travel a little bit, do things with my fiance, do things with my mom, my sisters, and get back the time in the years that, make up for lost time, kind of thing.
Is that frustrating for you? Not really having that time period to not really, reflect on your performance and really enjoy the fruits of your labor per se? Because obviously, August, that's a really quick turnaround, and obviously, you've talked about the cut to 135, and that it's not exactly an easy cut. So it's like, how frustrating is that for you?
Oh, it's very frustrating. What it is I bloat so bad after making that kind of a drastic weight cut. My body just holds on to everything. Like, I'm still pretty fit up top. My legs are okay, but my stomach and my legs and my face, they get pretty puffy. I was 177 pounds, and I'm like, man, I probably hit 180 and don't even know it. And it's not like it's good, healthy weight. It's just, I'm just big. But then once the water starts to flush out, I lose a little bit of the bloat. I get down to 170, 68, 65. But yeah, it is a little frustrating, because I'm like, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to have a little bit more time to kind of enjoy it a little bit. And I do want to be active. That's why I asked for September, because I know October is back in Abu Dhabi. I would love to go visit Abu Dhabi. I'm not trying to fight there again, because it's just a lot of moving pieces that are involved in trying to compete overseas. It really is. And I would rather be able to enjoy my summer a little bit more, and my birthday. So it is what it is. And yeah, so it's a little frustrating, but I know this is the job, so we'll try to figure it out as best as we can.
Couple more questions for me, man. Once again, I really do appreciate the time. I know you got a lot going on. Best case scenario, when do you feel like we see that Sean O'Malley fight?
If it's best case scenario, I'm looking at September. I think that's ideal. I guess we gotta just figure out what the location is going to be, what the date's going to be, and see if all these injuries are going to be good to go again. Because I feel like I'm almost playing my hand too much, playing the same card, trying to push the envelope, thinking I'm going to get away with the same thing over and over again. I'm like, eventually, um, something might happen where maybe my bicep just fully tears. I don't know. Just playing devil's advocate, thinking about things like that. So the last thing I need or want is to go back into another training camp after doing that to my body and getting injured because I rushed back too soon. So that's kind of the thought process right now.
And when you look at that possible, you're looking at that move to 145 after this next fight against O'Malley. Talk to me a little bit about the preparation for that move to 145. Obviously, you're a pretty big guy for 135. So it's like, do you feel like you're sacrificing that size and kind of that size advantage that you have at 135? Or what do you kind of see as like the preparation as you make that move up to 145 eventually?
Yeah, definitely going to be sacrificing something to go up. The height, the reach advantage. I still got a pretty good reach, even over a lot of the 45ers, or relatively even with those guys. The main thing that's going to be different for me is the height, and I think the weight. I think I'm going to be more of an in-betweener, not the biggest 45er. I'll be like right in the middle of the road, but it's going to give me an opportunity to lift more, put some more size on. I think a little more muscle. Maybe I don't even need to do that. Maybe I could just use my cardio even more as a weapon, and that could be the play right there. So just got to see, figure things out. I want to use the UFC PI to try to utilize them as much as I can, try to do the testing and make sure this is a good career move. And either way, man, I'm getting older. The weight cut sucks, and I'm kind of growing very, very tired of it.
How do you see Alexander Volkanovski, Yair Rodriguez playing out?
I think Yair might light him up with kicks, and I think Volkanovski is going to need to take him down, push him against the cage. He needs to be all the way in or all the way out. He's going to have the better boxing than Yair. And I think that's where he could catch Yair the same way Josh Emmett did. But if he sits there and tries to strike with him at range where Yair fires off those kicks, he is very diverse with those attacks. He kicks hard. He kicks fast. And now with him getting taken down, he's showing a lot of brilliance off of his back, elbows, active guard, looking for submissions off of his back. And I think that's going to make him a very dangerous threat against Volkanovski. I'm sure those guys are going to game plan properly, not hang out in the guard, posture up, don't give Yair an opportunity to tie him up and slow him down and slice him up with elbows. So Volk's a smart dude, and I'm excited for that fight to see how that one goes. I'm going to be there live.
No doubt about it, man. Well, before we wrap things up here, I'll give it the final word to talk a little bit about Nerd Focus Energy, where they can find the product and all that stuff. I'll give you the final word.
That's actually a very good question because I don't know exactly what stores we're completely in right now. They didn't actually tell me that part.
Is it just online right now?
I don't think so. I know we're in some stores. That is a very good question. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try to make anything up.
No, you're good. I think it's nerdfocus.com is the website. So I think fans can check that out and all that stuff. And
yeah, I know they definitely could get it on the website, but in terms of like the stores and stuff, that's a very good question. And I'm gonna have to ask and find out about that today. Other than that, I just want to say shout out to Nerd Focus for giving me an opportunity to work with them. Let's take this to new heights. And I want to say thank you to the fans that do support and to the fans who still have doubts. Three times, and we're going for a fourth. Put some respect on my name. And other than that, much love to everybody. Continue to chase your dreams. And let's go all the way to the top.
That's what's up, man. Well, Aljamain, it's great to meet you. Great to chat with you. All of the best with these next few weeks. And I'm sure we'll chat again soon, man. Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother.